So, welcome to another wargame review from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
So this is Alexander, acting as editor for this video. We recorded this a number of months ago back in the summer, and since then, Tom has come out as a trans woman, so you're going to hear us use the incorrect pronouns all the way throughout this video. Unfortunately, that's just a side effect of us having recorded this a long time ago before we knew. We respect Tom, and we appreciate the games that she's designed over the years, and this is one of those reviews.
And today we're playing a game that you may not have heard of. It is called With It or On It, and it's from a company called Hollandspiele, and it is an Ancients tactical,
Introductory
style war game. It's for two people. You could solo this, no big deal, if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But primarily this is a two-player tactical game. The game comes with, I believe it was 6. I'm just going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scenarios. There's 6 battles in this, where it's Ancients, so it's line them up in different formations, and you fight each other to death. That is the goal of this game, basically.
And as we learned, the way the game ended, battle line integrity,
very important,
and keeping units in some form of cohesion can be the deciding factor in a game. You crush that line, it's over.
Yes. There's a couple of scenarios have some other special different bits and pieces. That's what those X's and O markers are for. But really, this is an easy game to learn and get into. The rules are like 8-10 pages.
Although I will say, as we were sitting here reading those rules, there were many a time you would read a rule and I'd be like, it's like I turned my head cockeyed and, what did that say again? So it was almost as if we had to read it a couple of times to digest and understand what it was trying to say. And not that it was complex.
It's just different from the kind of styles of game that we play and what it's trying to put out on the board.
I would agree with that.
And I had a good time with it, which I don't know that I wasn't expecting it. You've been bugging me to play this game for a long time.
Yeah, and you were very hesitant to play it. I think you wanted to play maybe another game, but the moment we received this one, and the moment you did the unboxing, I looked at it and I was like, maybe I was attracted by the multicolored units and
it's fascinating.
Just the simplicity of it. I mean, it's an Ancients game. This map is totally plain.
And that's like that's like the whole thing that inspired nothing in me, honestly.
Yeah, because the map, I mean, it's like CNC Ancients with the map.
But it's like literally the map is a green square with a white, not a hex grid.
No, it's not a hex grid. Squares.
A square grid laid over the top. And you just have units.
And the setup line that's a little darker.
Yeah, and it's fairly simple. And so I was not in any rush to play this, is really what I was saying. But you pushed me to it, and I'm very glad that we did. I
agree.
I rescind my
your skepticism.
My skepticism.
Well,
it was fun.
And I think the other thing, and this may be because we've played a lot of Hollandspiele titles that, one, are eclectic. They're always different and interesting.
You always get something new in them.
They're small games. None of them are really 8-hour games, right? They're all 1 to 2 hour.
He doesn't like them.
So they're simple and eclectic, and they're frankly on battles that not many of us really. Now that's stupid because everyone knows Marathon and everyone knows Platea.
They don't though. That's something that we do take for granted.
If you're into Ancients of any kind, you know those. But it just, for me, typically we're drawn to, Panzers and World War II and.
Yeah, well, that's what most war games are.
Yeah.
Like, probably 30% of all war games are World War II.
Overdone. But, very refreshing. I feel like I have eaten a mint after I've had a very heavy meal and boy, I feel like, ooh, I'm refreshed.
Yeah, so
that was interesting.
What was cool is, from start to finish, learning this game to finishing a scenario, how long did we play?
1 hour.
1 hour.
Yeah. And literally 1 hour. About
20 minutes was me reading the rules.
Yeah, 20 minutes for rules, 40 minutes for playing. And I think that's pretty standard for it. 1 hour is these scenarios, 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Some of the scenarios are a bit bigger than the
they have more
Marathon
units.
one, for example.
Yep.
So, but
quick playing, fairly simple rules. And I'm going to be honest, quite a few very interesting mechanics.
Yeah, it's cool because it's an introductory game in the sense that if someone sat you down and talk to you for 10 minutes, you'd know how to play this.
Yes.
But there is some nuance in how to capitalize on certain situations, how to do things. And a part of that is how you issue commands.
The best part of the game.
I think
no
so.
doubt.
So basically, your army is divided into wings. You'll have a left wing, a right wing,
And a center.
and then a center wing.
And we each in this scenario had 3 wings.
Yeah, and I think that's fairly standard.
Yeah.
And you have these 3 command tokens,
Double-sided
which
command
are double-sided.
tokens.
So on one of them, you have move and attack. The other one,
So pay attention to that. On one of those is move and attack. You cannot move and then attack in the same round.
Then you have rally or skirmish, or you have bonus, which means you can like make one of these better.
Yeah.
Or you have your stratego, which is
A massive command.
which is you apply the command to all of your wings, because normally your 1 or 2 commands you can only apply to one wing. So
Right.
you can make one section do 2 things,
Yes.
or you can do that big stratego where everyone does one thing, but the toss-up is that hurts your rally limit,
You
which
lower
is
your-
which is
yep.
always a victory condition, basically.
Yep.
So that lowers your capacity to rally units, but it also brings you closer to quite literally losing the game.
Yeah.
So it's rare that you're going to do that. You're going to do that one time, twice at the most in the game,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, I think you're going to hold it. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to play the game, but you're going to hold that Strategos token and you're going to use it at very key times.
Yeah,
you've got a couple formations right in your face.
Thing, probably.
It's very similar to a cavalry charge. You know, you don't want to run your horses in at the beginning of the battle.
No.
You want to save them up so you can rout. But that's the way that Strategos
And if you mess that
works.
up,
yeah, it can be very devastating.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But it's neat because you have this choice in all of these binary choices of what issues to order and when, and finding the combinations of things that you want to do is like, oh, there's the neat little choices in that.
Well,
and
there's
then how it plays out.
Really meaningful choices, too.
Yeah.
And really great opportunities for taking a risk. So, for instance, if you choose a move because you really want to get up on your formation that's slinging you to death, which you were doing, you're actually devastating an entire wing, my left wing. If you want to move, but you have 1 or 2 broken guys that, if you move, they're going to stay behind and you're going to lose them. They'll ultimately then rout off the board.
Probably.
That gives you victory points. So there's that risk, I'm going to try to do a rally before I move, and oh gosh, I got to make 3 rolls and get 8+ at a +2 modifier, maybe a +3. Then you start thinking, oh, I can do that, but it's risk. So you don't. Those combinations, it's like any battlefield commander. You've got to make that tough choice to do what you got to do to end the battle, to do a decisive move.
But conversely, you've only got 3 tokens.
Yeah.
So you don't get the analysis paralysis
No.
that you get in. There's some other games that we've played. Oh gosh, I don't know if it was.
Well, Winter Thunder that had that
that
cool
was-
combat matrix.
That was the combat. That was nice. Do you remember we played a game with Tim years ago? I think it was called Colonial, and you had that hand of like 8 cards,
Yep.
and you had to choose like 2 of them. That was almost too much choice. That was so much choice, and
it made it hard.
It made it slow.
Yeah.
This
This was a very simple choice.
but it's like
not simple, but yep.
But it's not overwhelming.
No.
Which again makes it good for newer players.
So that command selection mechanic is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And then even to make that better is you have this initiative marker, which is like a laurels, right? It starts with a certain player, and what you can do is you can provide this initiative marker to your opponent and take
You just get
another round.
You get a whole nother turn, but you cede that to your opponent.
Yes.
So that then they have
can
the
do
option to do that. And very quickly you'll learn to hang on to that at times.
Yes.
Because if you keep double attacking each other,
you're going to wipe each other out.
Or-
Somebody's going to have good rolls and it's going to be bad.
or it's just going to get like out of hand. You need to use that for opportunistic things.
Absolutely.
Being able to finish certain items off.
Yep.
Force, route checks, things like that.
A way that I used it that I thought was actually probably a very good way to use that at the very beginning. Toot my own horn. The strategist, I used it at the beginning to move my Greek center, which was full of really good units.
You did a bonus move, so you moved twice.
Yep.
And then you used that to then move again.
So what I did is I, in essence, totally circumvented what your troops are good at, skirmishing.
Yeah, mine were good skirmishers.
+3 skirmisher, you had to get over an 8 to hit. If you did that, you did 2 damage if they're in a certain geographic area, or 1. And man, as I got close, I was like, he's going to pick me apart. So using that helped me really get into your face and stopped you from being able to skirmish. And I'm assuming there's different ways that could be used along those same lines to really change the strategy of the battlefield, and I really like that.
Well, it's called the initiative marker because you use it to swing the battle in your favor.
Right.
At a key moment or with some crazy action. Now I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And it really does what it's named to do, which I think is pretty cool.
But like you mentioned, that choice of, if I do it, I get a great benefit, but you know what? You're going to turn around and just do it again.
But I'm handing it over to you. It's neat.
It reminds me a lot of the grenade card in Combat Commander. What was that? Was it called Initiative?
I think it's called the Initiative
card. It's the same thing.
Same concept.
You can add, you can retake a turn, make a guy redo a roll. But then I'm giving that to you. And how many times have we seen that?
Go back and forth until someone makes their roll.
You threw it and stopped me. Then you hit, I stopped you. And it was like back and... Anyway, very interesting set of command tokens in that initiative marker. Really made the game, I thought.
Yeah, and with an Ancients game, something you'll expect is battle lines. That's very important for your route checks and things like that. The other thing you'll expect is unit types.
Yes.
And understand, this is not a massive game.
It's not crunchy.
It's a small game from a small publisher. Yep. So that you give light infantry, heavy infantry, hoplites, and
light horse.
Yep. That's it. So you get some, of the unit tactics that you would expect in Ancients. And on the play aid, which is on the back of the playbook. Oh no, the set's coming apart. You have a little matrix where it's hoplites versus light infantry. You roll the dice at -2, which is good. You're trying to roll.
You're trying to roll low.
Or it's
which is also cool. Flipping it around is always a cool thing.
Yeah, or it's hoplites versus heavy infantry. Only -1. Heavy infantry better able to defend themselves, things like that. So you do get that aspects of it. Hoplites versus light horse, +1. Because the horses just run away.
Yeah, right.
So you get an element of that, but it's in no way overwhelming, and it's really simple. You don't have a lot of complicated stuff. You just cross-reference it, gives you a die roll modifier.
Yeah.
You roll on the chart based on your unit quality.
Yeah.
Boom. It's really simple. All of the units are rated A, B, or C, and that just is the row on which you roll with your modifier based on the matrix. Not complicated. The really fun stuff for me is the unit composition of your armies is based on a pool of the corresponding units.
And you draw those randomly.
Yes. So you might draw 8 hoplite units, one of which is a leader. So your leader is guaranteed, but then you're going to draw 7 other hoplite units from a pool of hoplite units. So your army will be composed differently every time you play.
Yep.
And not just because you might have A's or B value, or C's if you've got really bad units, but the reverse side, some of the units have a second step.
Yep.
Some of them do not. Some of them are considered brittle. They have 2 white lines on them.
Yeah.
If you flip it over and see that,
they're dead.
They're eliminated off the board immediately. So you draw all those, and then you secretly kind of set up your forces on the board.
Yep.
So you're like, okay, I got to keep my bad units in the back, my good units in the front, that kind of stuff. But if you end up having to you have to start take wounds on some of these guys, you're like, oh my gosh, it can get catastrophic.
It can,
but that's the stuff that keeps it very fun, and it keeps it light, because you have a couple brittle guys break away, that's some victory points there, but then it starts to affect your battle line, then you start routing off the board, and then the game, just, you'll see an army dissolve in front of you, as they used to historically, right?
Yeah.
One side gets the upper hand, no one's fighting to the death. That's never happened ever. and like the armies just run away.
Yep.
Because all these people want to go back to their families and go back to farming.
The other really cool thing about the brittle versus is if you have a good ordered unit, up in front, when they take a hit and they're not brittle. I mean, if they're brittle and you flip them over, they're done. But if they're brittle or not brittle, you can actually put that wound on an adjacent guy.
Yes.
Which is very cool and creates some very interesting tactical choices for the attacker and for you as you assemble your army.
And that's some of the stuff that I thought was really neat. This is one of the first games where having double depth and triple depth like battle lines was more than just helps you with a morale check.
Yeah.
Because you've got the guys in the front fighting in melee, and the guys behind them with long spears stabbing away.
Yep, supporting.
Like, those guys behind you can get exhausted. Those guys to the side of you can get exhausted. You can get exhausted. So it stops you from just like, oh, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead.
There's more choice
to it. And then you pick them
than
apart.
That. Yeah.
The whole line gets exhausted, then it starts to dissolve.
Yeah.
So you keep your integrity for a while, gives you chances to rally back in it and things. It's a really cool way of doing that kind of stuff.
And they also had leaders. Each wing has a certain amount of leaders, 1 or 2.
Or none.
Or none. And when they're set up, you hide that from your opponent.
Yep.
So that you don't know, I'm going to... Because leaders are what your rally limit is based on. Like, I had 4 leaders, and I think you had 2.
Yeah.
So your rally limit was much, much less than mine. But having those hidden, and then once they're revealed, they actually get bonuses to rally and bonuses to... no, they don't get comp. It's rally.
Yep.
So that was interesting also. Thinking about where am I going to put these guys to help out. I would have probably done a couple of things differently. Now that we've played and I have a better nuanced understanding of them. I mean, I'd build my phalanx where I have leaders touching almost every guy as best I can. You can't do every guy.
No, but you want to spread
really help.
that out to help. But, and then you're trying to hide them in a sense because once they get revealed, they're a single step unit.
Yep.
And I'm going to target those because they're worth 4 victory points.
Yep.
And it's going to start to really dissolve things as well.
Yeah.
You get just some neat little aspects of those hidden mechanics, and that's why I said you could probably do this solo.
Yeah.
Just by it'd be a bit more random, where you just kind of mix them up.
Your opponent, you would just not know exactly what their composition,
and
or
maybe it wouldn't be as as optimal, but you could still do it.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing I really liked about the game, the 8-sider. Not a lot of board games use 8-siders. We've actually seen it a little bit more recently. What was the other game we played a couple of weeks ago that had an 8-sider? I knew I was going to say that. And we're not.
Yeah, you should have asked beforehand.
Yeah. But anyway, the concept of that 8-sider, we've seen 10-siders in combat or 6-siders. Using an 8-sider, man, it creates a different dice dynamic. Yeah. It really does. Particularly when you're trying to roll low. It creates a new and interesting feeling to it. I like that as well. Lots of really great stuff to like in this game.
Yes, so really we've talked for 20 minutes. Let me show you the board so you can see some of that stuff. And then what we'll do, a wrap up with a few final thoughts. So this is a look at the map. And this is what I mean when I said that it's not that I wasn't turned off. That probably is true, but I'd hate to say that. But I wasn't mega excited for this because it was a green rectangle with a white grid over the top, and it was I don't know. I didn't really know what I was expecting from it. Now, with that being said, I was 100% wrong. It's a very fun game, this one. So how it works? This is the end of one of the scenarios. Basically, you'll end up with. One player's going to have kind of their battle line, and I'm going to have my battle line as well. And they're divided up into colours. So one of the Greek wings is what they're called. Was here in pink. They were all eliminated. I have a blue wing here in the middle, or at least what's left of it. And then I have a green wing, and I have a purple wing. And you issue commands to a wing. And it sounds a little bit like commands and colors, but it's much less random. in the sense that those you are restricted by the cards that you have. Here, you can choose to issue orders, and you have these 3 order counters. And we have here, this is the battle, this is a bonus, and this is a rally. Or, instead of battling, I could issue an order to move. Instead of rallying, I could issue an order to skirmish. Or instead of bonus, I could do, it's the Stratego, I'm going to call it Stratego, I don't think it's actually what it's called, marker, where it activates all of your wings. Normally, it's only 1 wing. If you use this to issue an order to all your wings, which you might be tempted to do, that's going to reduce your rally limit by 1. If this hits 0, you lose the game. So you got to be very choosy when you do that. So you can't move and battle in the same turn, right? You can't rally and skirmish in the same turn. So you got to figure out what it is that you're trying to do. What you can do is you could move and then skirmish, for example. If I was so inclined, I might issue both of these orders to this wing. Because you cannot issue order 1 wing to 1 wing and 1 order to another wing. You can't do that. Your orders have to go to 1 wing. And you don't have to issue 2, you can issue just 1. So there's also that as well. But if I was to do that, I'm going to do my move action first, and they can move 4 spaces because they're foot units. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that sends them out all on their own. Eliminates my battle line integrity. Not that I had much because all my blue units are dead, but just for the sake of this, I've got these guys and they're kind of facing these guys. Now, because I can draw a straight line to these guys, I can skirmish them. I can literally throw my spears and skirmish them. These are my kind of light infantry. Now, in this one, the Persians, which is the green, this line here, they have a skirmish value of 3. So you roll a die and add 3, and I rolled a 5, 6, 7, 8. That's perfect, because 8 is the target number. So 5 or more, I succeed, and what happens is the opponent then chooses one of their units on which basically to flip over. So maybe they might choose one of their weaker units that's a B, not as good in combat. We'll flip them over, and we'll flip over one at the back, because then he's not going to hinder movement. Because if you're flipped over, you're exhausted. If these guys were to be issued a move order, they could not, these guys cannot move. So this guy would then have to move around him. It gets very inefficient. You don't want to get messed up with that. So don't do that. Because it was quite a long range, I only did 1 damage. If we are up close, like this, units with a skirmish capability, and that's all determined in the kind of scenario setup, they have a range of 3 hexes in front of them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If the wing that you're attacking is within that skirmish range, they would take 2 hits. So then you're like, well, now I'm going to flip both of these. So that's move and skirmish. You run up, throw your spears. That can be really good. Now on a subsequent turn, what I might do is I might do a skirmish, and I might do a bonus skirmish. Now that gets powerful because I would skirmish, roll the die. Oh look, I rolled that, so we're going to flip 2 more units. And then the bonus skirmish means I do a whole nother skirmish. So I'm going to roll again. And I rolled a 7, 8, 9. These are the best rolls I've ever rolled, so let's not waste them. So that flips everyone. So these guys are all exhausted now. Now they're all exhausted, I have much more large opportunity to kill them. And what it also did is it revealed this leader. You see, the leader was hidden under a normal hoplite. As soon as they get exhausted, it reveals the leader. And what's important about that is I'm now going to try and target that leader by charging in and killing him. Because when a leader dies, that's 4 victory points to me. And when you kill a leader, it also depletes that rally limit, which puts them closer to losing, as well as giving you the victory points. So there's kind of multiple paths to victory, but you should try to exploit all of them at the same time. But that's the cool part of issuing orders. It's, I get 2, I can issue 2 orders. What are they going to be? Is it going to be one really good thing with the bonus, or is it going to be 2 things, or can I not really use these guys very well, so I'll just give them 1 order? and you know, it's, oh, I can't move and attack. That would be so nice and simple, right? To run in and then attack, but you cannot do that. So the game gives you some very interesting choices in that sense. Regular combat, we'll just pick an A unit here and a B unit here. This is probably going to be a bloodbath. So you issue that combat order, and then you kind of line them all up and fight. We're actually going to move a couple guys over here, just so that you can see how some of this works. Because it's very, very interesting how this plays out. So, you'll have a combat matrix, and we'll say that the attack order, we'll do an attack, and we'll do a bonus attack. That just gives -1 to our die roll. Again, we're trying to roll low in combat. So we look at this matrix. I'm a hoplite against a light infantry. So the attacking unit's a hoplite. We're going against light infantry, so it's -2, just a base. And we're -1 from this, so it's -3 altogether. And what we're going to do is we're going to then roll on this chart here. However, as with good Ancients games, the structure of your battle lines and your supporting units is going to affect combat. And you have to kind of choose and decide how to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an attack with this guy, and he can be supported by anyone who's adjacent to him or adjacent to the defender. So if you've got like flanking and stuff, you can get some pretty significant bonuses. So we were already -3, we're going to be -4 because this guy is helping to support us attacking. That he can't do anything else. If he had an enemy next to him, he couldn't attack them, for example. You can only attack or be a support unit in one combat. So we're going to roll die -4. Uh-oh. Roll die minus... Oh, good gracious. So we roll a 1. And we're an A value unit. So we're going to go on the A table. And we get to a 1. But we're -4. Well, we can only ever get to a -2. And DE Defender is eliminated. Real simple. We just eliminate this unit. Okay. There's no advance after combat or anything like that. We just eliminate that unit. This goes into our victory pile. That's 1 victory point. Now, if we'd rolled really poorly, and we'd roll... So let's say we were -4. So let's say we roll at 7. If we were a 7 -4, that puts us at a 3. That means the defender and the X means they're exhausted. So they would just flip over. Ah, of course. Another cool part of this game, if you have 2 white stripes, that means your unit is brittle. They're immediately eliminated. They don't have a reduced side. Let's pretend they did have an exhausted side. It's just got the 1 stripe on it, you see. If that was the case, I don't necessarily have to take it on this guy. You might want to, but you don't have to. You can put it on any guy who is adjacent to him. So you could stick it on this guy, but then he's going to be killed by him, so don't do that. But you can put it on this guy in the rear. He can take kind of that exhaustion. And indeed, you have to do that. If this guy gets exhausted, and we attack him again, and we get another exhaustion result, you can't put it on him or him. You have to put it on an adjacent fresh guy. And what it does is you keep your structure, but more guys get exhausted and exhausted, which means they're much closer to breaking, but they don't break because everyone's there. Then they start getting eliminated. And when you start getting eliminated, then you have to make a route check. So if this guy gets eliminated, the route check is, are you next to 2 guys in your formation? So this guy is adjacent to 2 guys, so he's good. Are you adjacent to 1 guy who's adjacent to 2? Yes. This guy is not, so he's going to be eliminated. He's not adjacent to anyone. If you get guys over here, they're not adjacent to anyone, or if there's like only 2 of them that are isolated, these guys run away. And then that's victory points for your opponent. And if you get leaders starting to run away, it gets very, very ugly very quickly. So the combat's really simple, but it's how you conduct the combat, the order in which you pick the battles, because you might try to force this guy over here to put some reductions on some of these adjacent guys if he's already reduced, And then with the guy next to him, you can then attack a guy who's already reduced. You get into some really neat little micro tactics of doing this battle. It's very fun in that sense. But that's the core of the game. You're trying to kill as many guys as possible for victory points, or kill the leaders and force them into doing route checks to people running off the board and things like that to reduce their rally limit. But that's the majority of what this game is you've got these 3 wings, trying to maneuver and position them, get into combat, do some skirmishing, do wounds. It's not complex rules-wise, but there's some nice little things to think about and strategies to execute. So what I'll do is we'll wrap up with a few final thoughts. So that was a look at the map. The map is a green square.
Yeah, don't write it off because of the map.
Which is what I had done.
Yep.
I'll be honest.
Yep,
I've had basically no interest in playing this.
Shame on you.
And it is absolutely shame on me.
Don't judge a book by its cover, nor a war game by its map.
I will almost always do that.
All right, I know we do.
But
we do a lot.
Even like you're like, let's play it, and I'm still like,
yeah. I actually had to literally grab it off the shelf.
Yep.
Because you were gonna grab something else.
I was going to grab Aliens.
I know, but we need to play this because it's. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did.
Yes,
really
it's
glad
very
we
good.
did.
And it's always that test. Do we set it up and play it again?
Yes,
I would do that.
I would immediately.
Very happily do that.
I agree.
It's really, the battles are really short.
Yep.
So you get it goes along at a good pace as well.
And
you're always doing something.
They can end pretty quickly. I mean, if something goes wrong, it can I exposed your leaders, and it was like I could smell blood in the water. I killed them because you reminded me of the rule, really. I'd kind of forgotten. But I killed them, and then that ended the game because your rally limit went to 0.
Yeah.
You still had, in fact, you'd eliminated an entire wing of mine. You had more victory points than me at that point. But I liked that.
Yes.
I was out of the game. I'm like, bam, I got to get back in that game, and I did.
Yes.
So really interesting. Really liked it. And another Ancients game that's good and solid. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's nice. So I would put this on the easier end of the scale. It's introductory, right?
But there's a little complexity to the strategy, but easy to pick up.
Yeah, it's neat. It's small. Mm-hmm. It's not expensive either.
No.
And so this is something that is a nice little package that if you want to get into some Ancients, you can do this, and this can be your Ancients game. Or it can be a gateway into the massive world of Ancients games as well.
Well, and I'll also say this. This is a 2019 game that we unfortunately didn't get played until 2020.
Yeah.
We've already put out our list. This one might have snuck on that list.
It would have been real close.
At worst, it would have been an honorable mention, because it's that good.
Yeah, it's that good. It's very enjoyable. I would recommend this. I think they have... I don't know...
Well, this is the Shields and Swords Ancient series. I'm not sure if they have other games or if he's planning other games.
So Shields and Swords is a system.
Okay.
And there's a whole bunch of those. And
they're the Battle on the Ice.
I believe
is one.
I believe those are medieval. I think.
Okay.
And this is transported that system into Ancients.
Okay.
I believe. I'm not 100% confident on that, but I think that's.
We have to do some more research because there may be more of these.
Yeah. There's definitely more that use this core system.
Okay.
They're not Ancients, though, I believe.
Got it.
So,
I enjoyed the Ancients part of it. That was fun. That's why I wanted to play, was the Ancients.
But medieval would be so cool, too.
It would. You're right.
But, yeah. Either way, this was fun. I enjoyed it. I think they offer a canvas map for this.
Okay.
Because I think through Blue Panther, they had a bunch of canvas maps at WBC that I saw. That would be nice.
Well, this paper map, the way it's folded... It's hard to keep your pieces on it, but that canvas map would be good.
This doesn't flatten out great.
Well, it would if you put 15 boxes on it for a week.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't. We still played it just fine.
Yeah,
it works.
We needed Plexi. We should have done Plexi, but
it's there's options for it out there. It's a single counter sheet. It's a small rule book. The battle book has all this cool history in it.
Like the first 8 pages are just history.
I'm going
to read that.
The scenarios are 6 pages.
Yeah.
The rules are 7. It's really quick and easy to learn.
Yeah, it's a good game.
The play aid's on the back,
which
has everything on it.
Yep.
All the modifiers down here, all the charts. It's very simple to play.
I would play this again.
Yep.
I would play it multiple times. In fact, I'd love to play it solo. And that's pretty rare for me.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear how
solo.
that works.
Yeah.
You know, if you get some like dumb things where all the leaders are at the front with
I
all
may
the crap
try it.
units.
I may try it.
So
Tom,
yes,
bravo. Good game.
and if you're interested, Tom is part of our Patreon only Slack channel. So if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, and that helps support us. Tom Russell is the designer and the owner of Hollandspiele with his wife.
And a good guy.
And he's always on there, always got something to say. He will answer any questions about any of his games. He's a really valuable resource in the wargaming community as well.
Absolutely.
So this is With It or On It. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad we played it.
I have to eat my humble pie on that.
Yep.
I'll happily admit that I misjudged this.
Well, and it's happened before with games that you've wanted to play badly, and
Yep.
I'm like, and then we play them, and I'm like, okay, glad we played that.
Yep. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Nope.
This is a fun introductory Ancients game. Give it a go if you're interested. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.
And I'm Grant.